If I told you that the air condition causes Parkinson's disease, would you believe that? If the doctors and the neurologists hear that, they're gonna say, this guy is out of his mind. You know what? I can prove it. The role of a doctor is to do no harm. And that is the only thing the allopathic medicine is doing. Why? For the first time, our children are gonna die sooner than we will. Because
50% of men and a third of women who will have a heart attack, stroke, or die suddenly will have that event take place before the time they are 65.
We are becoming sicker, fatter.
As they can not only make you sick, but if not prepared properly, poison you to death.
That things that kill you and hurt you are easily accessible, they're cheap, advertised.
They know that there's a sweet spot where you're going to keep buying it because you're addicted.
Smoking and unhealthy diet are the leading factors in 50% of cancers. In chemotherapy itself, while these drugs can cure cancer, many of them actually predispose that person to developing another cancer.
I used to see about 60 patients a day, and a lot of success, a lot of patients. However, personally, I was stricken with cancer. And I said, what right do I have to treat patients when I cannot take care of myself? At that point, I moved on to figuring out what went wrong and what happened. Today, I am cancer-free. I treated myself completely holistically. Now I think I have earned the right to treat patients in a way that modern medicine has failed to do so. They say, oh, it's genetics. Well, the medical community has failed humanity. And this is why we have so many mutations, so many cancers. If you don't eat well, don't meditate, and don't sleep well, the doctor cannot help you. You're out of luck.
Gladiators, welcome back. Today we have a doctor in the house. Dr. Moshe Goldsmith, my dearest friend, my dearest doctor, gentleman who's relentlessly tried to save my life.
Oh, so kind of you.
Welcome to the arena.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Doctor, tell me what kind of a doctor you are.
I'm a functional medicine doctor. I've had about 30 years of experience, both in the US and in the GCC area. And my focus is basically to find the root cause of any issue that might cause disease and fix the root issue, which is contrary to what modern medicine does.
Obviously, you're a doctor, right? So you were trained and you're educated using the existing way of being a doctor, not the modern medicine, let's say.
Correct.
So tell us, how long were you in the modern medicine business? And then when do you realize, hey, this shit doesn't work and I need to improve?
Absolutely. That's a great point. For about 20 years, I trained in the United States, and I practiced in Florida for about 20 years. And
were you a GP doctor? Or?
No, I was internal medicine specialist. A GP doctor trains for 1 year. We train for 3 years after we finish medical school. And then after that, you can subspecialize in dermatology, plastic surgery, and things of that nature. So that becomes subspecialty. We become specialty. And the GP is just a regular who cannot go to the hospital, where we can go to the hospital and see patients and so on and so forth. And basically, after 20 years...
Sorry, doctor, before we move...
Sure.
What is internal, whatever you were specializing?
Okay, internal medicine. Internal medicine is basically is a specialty where you know about everything, including the brain, the heart, the kidneys, the spleen, the liver, endocrine, everything you need to know. And despite of what they say, master of none, I would say master of all. Because if you cannot make the diagnosis and then subsequently move into treatment and choose the right subspecialty to do the service and be acting as an advocate to the patient never gets well. So this is where we come in, where we identify the patient's problem, exactly what it is, and then we choose the right path for her.
Do you operate also, or did you operate?
No, that is a specialty of surgery, and I do not operate, even though I did some non-surgical procedures and treatments. But for the most part, that goes to the aesthetic part of what I do. And essentially, basically what this is that at that point, you take care of patients in the ICU, in the CCU, in the step down, in the medical floor, and 90% of the patients was taken care of by me, and only 10% I needed subspecialty to come in and finish, such as surgery, such as like if the patient needed cardiac cath and things of that nature, and stents and so on and so forth.
Amazing. So you have to work closely with the surgeons at all times.
All subspecialties. It includes surgeons, brain surgeons, oncologists, endocrinologists, rheumatologists, and so on.
So you did that for 20 years?
I did that for 20 years.
In
And
Miami,
then,
Florida?
sorry? Yes,
Florida.
in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And then I used to see about 60 patients a day. And so what happens was, at that point of my life, a lot of success, a lot of patience. However, personally, I was stricken with cancer. And the stress of the job and the stress of the whole thing just made me sick. So at that point,
How
I
many
had to
years
make...
ago, doctor, was
This was almost 2010, 2011.
So quite recently.
Quite recently.
Sure.
And then, so when that happened, I gave up my practice. And I said, what right do I have to treat patients when I cannot take care of myself? I need to be well, and then I can be taking care of patients. So at that point, I moved on to figuring out what went wrong and what happened. That brings me to today. I am cancer-free. I treated myself completely holistically. I only had surgery to remove the tumor from my neck. And then subsequent to that, I did everything by holistic and natural medicine. And I'm standing here cancer-free, scans are negative, feel great. And, now I think I have earned the right, after treating myself, to treat patients in a way that allopathic medicine, the modern medicine, has failed to do so. In my opinion, medical schools do not teach you how to be healthy. Medical schools teach the doctors how to manage disease and how to do sick care. And I think that any health care, the word health care is actually an oxymoron when it comes to modern medicine. Health, it should be called sick care. It shouldn't be saying Ministry of Health. It should be Ministry of Sick. So that, if once that is identified, then they can justify what they do, because modern medicine and medicine in general does not cure disease. Functional medicine doctors, they do. That's the major difference.
So you're anti-establishment, really?
Very much so.
So do you get doctors telling their patients not to come to you?
You know what? Doctors, after first they try to poo-poo it. They say, oh, it's voodoo, this, that, the other. Once they see that they have hit a wall and there's nothing else to do. I mean, let's try to use an example. For instance, a patient with a heart attack. Yes. If 17 years ago, more than 17 years ago, it was very clear that if you start patients that have heart attack or have had heart attack or at risk of heart attack, for instance, they have had one heart attack and they are for the second one, what is changing their diet to plant-based diet has been shown to increase longevity, extend their lives, make them healthier, and expand their health span. Whereas stents, vascular dilatations with the ballooning of the heart, let's say anti-cholesterol medicines, even aspirin, even anti-blood pressure medicines, have shown, the studies show, no extending life.
So stents don't work.
Stents only improve quality of life for the time the patient is alive. They do not extend life. This is proven.
Because I have stents, I have 3.
Of course.
And if there's a blockage and the stents open it up,
Yes.
isn't that stopping a heart attack? Or does the vein close somewhere else?
Okay. That only causes another issue, because the stent is a foreign substance. It's sitting in your artery and sitting in there and causing clotting, causing inflammation, causing different other sorts of problems. Because like in allopathic medicine, they call it side effect. Okay. Well, stent has side effects. But the studies after studies after studies after studies show it does not prevent another heart attack. It does not extend life, only done for improving quality of life while the patient is alive. So is open heart surgery. Open heart surgery is not so that the patient can live another extra 10 years. It's to do so that the patient has less pain and live while alive. The other very, very interesting point is this. They did a study with patients that ate vegan diet and patients that were on regular medicines, aspirins and anti-cholesterol medicine and so on. Okay? And then they put them on the exercise machine. For vegan people that had the same identical problems with the people that were just on medicines, the medicine people, it extended their exercise tolerance by another 30 seconds. Whereas with the vegan diet, 30 minutes and more. On top of that, the vegan diet showed that over time it increases longevity, it increases life, it increases health span, and the modern medicine does neither. Complete failure of allopathic medicine. Allopathic medicine has a place in medicine, and that is only when we have an acute problem, such as acute stroke, to use thrombolytics, meaning medications to dissolve the clot in the brain. If it is a clot that is forming it, obviously not if it's bleeding. Or thrombolytic when you're having an acute heart attack and the enzymes are up and you're in the emergency room, or some hypertensive crisis, something that is going to cause immediate problem if you don't take care of that. However, long term, that treatment does nothing for you. What helps to maintain your blood pressure, your heart health, your brain health, and everything else is diet, exercise. Even meditation is, if you do 12 to 15 minutes of meditations a day, it is superior to any medicines anytime. It increases telomeres, it repairs DNA, and so on and so forth. Modern medicine is failed at best. Allopathic medicine.
Doctor, I know nothing about medicine.
Of course.
And I go to, thank you, and I go to the pharmacy and I see shelves of medicine, right? What actually amazes me is there's not that many tablets out there. It's just like, I feel like the business, the pharmaceuticals control what's on the shelves. Does that make sense?
Of course.
I would have thought with all these illnesses, there's got to be like libraries and libraries of medicine. But I think, hang on a second, somebody dominates that market. Somebody dominates that market. Somebody has sold their medicine to these pharmacies and I don't have choice. Does that make sense? And then
it makes a lot of sense.
Prescribe you exactly the medicine they have on the shelves. I feel like it's a mafia. That's how I feel as a consumer.
Well, I tell you this. I am sitting in my office and representative after representative of all different pharmaceutical companies come to my office. Doctor, would you like to go to Paris? Would you like to go to here and there? Would you like to go on a cruise and all that? If you only order this many of our medications, we will do that. So that is a common practice.
Yes.
But the other issue is this. medical schools mostly owned by pharmaceutical companies. Their training is dictated by the pharmaceutical companies and is oriented towards telling them what medication for what. Now, the interesting point is this. We have probably over 1 million or so different disorders of various kinds. We have only 250 medications and formulas to be used for these 1 million.
Yes, exactly.
It's absolute travesty for the modern medicine to come and tell you that they are doing
Fixing your problem.
fixing your problem, or they're saving your life, or their health. This is not health. This is sick management, sickness management, and at best, functional medicine doctors have shown over and over again that with diet, meditation, exercise, lifestyle modification, smoke cessation, sleep hygiene, breathing through your nose, breathing exercises, and in addition to that, having a healthy mind and healthy surroundings, so healthy life, has been the hallmark of people living longer. Why the blue zone people are living to be 102 years old, 105 years old? They eat minestrone. They drink goat cheese. They eat goat cheese, goat milk.
In Greece? Is it the island in Greece?
In Italy.
Is it in Italy?
Okay?
Right.
Yeah, in Italy. And what is interesting is that the same island, people who live on the top of the mountain that are goat herders live to be 100, 102 years old. People down there that don't drink goat milk and eat goat cheese, they live to be with normal people in their 80s and 90s.
Ah, so goat cheese is something goat cheese.
My son, okay, when I was using a Swiss-made milk supplement, medical supplement for him. He started reacting and eczema everywhere. When I changed it to organic, Holland, it's made in Holland, organic food, his eczema stopped. Our food is the other issue. Fast food of any kind, Coca-Cola. If you give Coca-Cola to a child that is, let's say, is 5 years old, by the time he is 11, has the same liver changes and cirrhosis as an alcoholic, fatty liver changes, and issues such as that. It is McDonald's, and I hope I don't get sued for this, but
I will, but it's okay.
Okay, so here's the issue.
I'm just joking. It's fine.
No, but here's the issue. Fast food industries, processed food, and without having whole grain, they stripped all the goodness from the rice, whole grain, and cow milk. One of the worst possible foods ever existed is cow milk. Cow milk has proteins that body reacts to and causes inflammation. So it is.
But haven't we been drinking cow milk since the beginning of time?
Sure, and so has been the diseases. Look, let me
Don't
just
you think like for instance, cancer and heart disease increased recently due to our lifestyle changes, to electronics, to
absolutely. For instance, let's talk about cancer. This is another misnomer in allopathic medicine, modern medicine. They say, oh, it's genetics. There's nothing you can do. I don't know if I can say this, but Bullshit. Okay? It is simply this. It is a metabolic problem, and cancer likes two things. One is called an amino acid called glutamine, and the other one is sugar. So when these two, in patients that had cancer, when they were given a keto diet, in addition to giving them a medication that stops the glutamine production, guess what happened? Cancer patients that were supposed to die in 9 months, they're still living 10 years later. And then...
What's glutamine?
Glutamine is a type of a nutrient. It's just in proteins. Okay, is one of the amino acids. So what it does, it
Nothing to do with gluten. Gluten free.
no, gluten is different. Gluten comes from the grain, and like breads and that is another toxin. Okay, let's say glyphosate. In the old days when they raise grains. They raise grains and then they stop watering the farm, and the grain dries. The sun dries it, and then they come and harvest the grain. That's how they did it. Now, 20 minutes, all these drones go over the farm and they spray it with glyphosate, and then they kill it. They kill the plant. They harvest. So where does that glyphosate go? Into your body and my body if we eat that. I don't eat that, but and I'm sure you don't, because we've talked about this. But glyphosate is another toxin, and many other pesticides that are now causing cancer, causing disease. And Monsanto and Procter & Gamble and all these American companies, none of them are being, by the Congress or anybody else, are not being reprimanded for literally, knowingly poisoning the food chain and poisoning the people. Nobody is here talking about it. Nobody is here telling about it. And the doctors are not even aware of it. The medical community has failed people and humanity. And this is why we have so many mutations, so many cancers, so many diseases, so many things, because it's profitable business for pharmaceutical companies. That's the end of the story.
Functional medicine is new, something new, or it's been
No.
going for?
Functional medicine goes back to Ayurveda into 4,000 years ago. 4,000 years ago, a very smart guy said, if you eat well, meditate, sleep well, you will never need a doctor. But if you don't eat well, don't meditate, and don't sleep well, the doctor cannot help you. The doctor cannot help you, meaning you're out of luck. It is important to understand that in order for you to be for anyone to be healthy, you need to take responsibility for your own health and for your own life. It is important not only that, but also remember this: you're not alone. The family that surrounds you, they eat the same food. They have the same environment and the same thing. If I told you that the air condition causes Parkinson's disease, would you believe that?
And it comes from you, yes.
But why? Because there's a fungus that actually goes through the air conditioning and in humid areas, and that fungus, when you breathe it over time, causes. And sometimes we should, in functional medicine, we've identified the fungus and we give it an antifungal medication and we treat the Parkinson's disease. This is blasphemy. If the modern medicine, if the doctors and the neurologists hear that, they're going to say, this guy should be shot. This guy is out of his mind. You know what? I can prove it. There are articles after articles written about this. Parkinson's disease is a man-made problem. It didn't exist 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Alzheimer's disease is on the rise. It did not exist 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Okay? And I'm just, saying these things to tell you this. Africans who live in Kenya and other places, when they eat the right food, when they eat vegetables and walk a lot, exercise, they don't have heart disease. They don't have Parkinson's. They don't have Alzheimer's. Why is it that in modern societies we have all these diseases, and people who are poorer than us, living in conditions much less privileged, yes. Why for the first time our children are gonna die sooner than we will? Because our children are eating the food that are tainted with these chemicals. And disease is on the rise. Diabetes is on the rise. Parkinson's is on the rise. Heart disease is on the rise. Alzheimer's is on the rise. Everything is on the rise. You allopathic medicine guy, come and tell me, how good are you doing? How are you helping your patients?
People are living longer, though.
No,
How many people are
they're
living?
not.
Because
In
if you
America,
look
for
at-
the first time,
No, but
this-
they're dying in their 70s and 80s. But I think 100 years ago, people died in their 40s and 50s, right?
Okay, now,
I'm not talking about quality of life. I'm talking about longevity, right? People,
okay, longevity, yes.
Longevity.
Okay, here's the thing. No, please look. The curve is coming down again, because it is not profitable for Medicare and Medicaid to have to support the American population. So what is happening? The American government is bankrupt because of Medicare and Medicaid. So what are they doing? For the first time, people are starting to die at the age of 75, 80. The average age of an American is about 78. 80% of them have metabolic issues. Anybody who has a little bit of a gut is at risk of diabetes, heart disease, autoimmune disease, and stroke, and cancer, and other things. Okay, why? Because there are two types of syndrome X. The one that is thin.
what's syndrome X, though?
Okay, syndrome X is a combination of several things, and it's the most common disease there is, and allopathic medicine is failed to do anything about it. A syndrome X is when you have abundance of fat inside your stomach, in your tummy, either in the form of a belly or inside your abdomen. You look thin from the outside, maybe a little bit of tiny bump, okay? But you look thin from the outside, but from the inside, all of your organs are wrapped around fat.
I feel I'm like that because I've got this big chest. Yes, and I know it's not all muscle. You with me? I feel
Yes.
all my organs are padded with fat. If that
Well,
makes sense.
that is something that what needs
I
to
didn't
happen.
have this huge chest when I was
Well,
20 years ago.
one of the things there are that is not part of the syndrome X. However,
Stomach is.
stomach is, but your stomach it's not exactly that. However, there are some signs that yes, I agree with you that you can fit that criteria. But having said that, guess what? It's
curable.
very easy it's curable. It is treatable, but not with modern medicine. Because look at diabetes. Diabetes is on the rise. It's killing millions and millions of people. It's costing billions in the United States as far as the healthcare is concerned. Okay, what are they doing? Giving insulin. Guess what insulin does? Makes you fatter, because it and then causes inflammation. And it's just for bringing the blood sugar down. And other medications that are given to reduce the blood sugar. Mm-hmm. The point is that they are managing disease. And at the end of the day, people that die of diabetes are on the rise. The complications of diabetes, stroke, cancer, loss of limbs, wounds not healing, all these kind of diseases is on the rise.
Did
So what have they done?
diabetes exist 100 years ago?
Diabetes did not exist 100 years ago. Diabetes is a modern medicine. You know what diabetes came about? Is when, you see that picture behind you that it is showing the farm, is when for the first time in Egypt, the agricultural civilization started to rise. And diabetes started with refined food, grain. Responsible people for diabetes are companies like McDonald's, companies like Burger King, companies like Hardee's, companies like and Procter and Gamble, refined food, and so on and so forth. People who eat natural food, plant-based food, nuts, legumes, and fermented food, they don't get diabetes. And if they have diabetes, it's cured. The diabetes stops. We stop their medications after we start the vegan diet. We stop, the insulin stops, the pill stops, the anti diabetic medications, and I won't mention names because we are these things will stop the medication. We stop people using cholesterol medicines because cholesterol medicine is one of the worst possible medications to take. Why? Because studies show, first, they cause your immune system to attack itself, such as your immune system attacks the heart muscles, your own muscles, causes muscle damage, causes liver problems, causes inflammation, causes Alzheimer's, causes cancers and diabetes. This is all known. However, when they say cholesterol medicine, why? If the cholesterol medicines came about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, so how come the heart disease hasn't been reduced? How come the people are still dying of heart disease on these medications? How come? Explain that to me.
Because there's proven that people believe human beings in uniforms because they automatically think they're the experts. And when a doctor sits there with a white coat on, people think they're God. Whatever
Well, you know what? People need to stop thinking that because their life depends on it. You know, now people before used to come to the doctor and actually respect the doctor as what we call in the Eastern world as tabib. Okay, someone who is there for them. Okay, now the doctors of today, they sit there and push pills that cause disease without even knowing what that pill does. At least have the courtesy of checking a DNA of that patient, see if the medication that you're giving him is actually suitable for him, that it does not cause side effects. You can know whether that medication is going to cause a side effect on that patient only doing a DNA test. If you do a DNA test, at least do a DNA test to know what is wrong with that patient and what are the kind of things you need to do to fix that problem before it happens. Why do you have to wait until they have disease? They cancer starts 20 years before it shows its ugly face. We can diagnose it by using liquid biopsy. The technology is this where we can do liquid biopsy and we could know almost 70-80% of the causes of cancer. We would know it 20 years from it happening.
Have you done that on me? Have I had a
Not
biopsy?
yet, because it's only available in certain centers. Okay, it's only available in certain centers, and I have to find out where they are doing it here so that we can do this. This is what functional medicine is. Functional medicine goes to the root of the problem, finds it out, and fixes it.
Doctor, how many functional medicine doctors are there in the UAE or Dubai?
Well, you know what? I don't know. I don't know because every person that I've talked to, every doctor that I've talked to happens to have his own opinion of health. You know what? This is not a matter of opinion. It's not my opinion. Everything that I'm telling you here is a fact. Fact backed up with thousands of articles and for 4,000 years of where the modern human history. So it's very clear. Modern medicine from, when Rockefeller went, he was a snake oil salesman. They asked Rockefeller, why are you buying all these medical schools? He said, because it's profitable. I can sell my vitamins to them and train doctors to do it. Then he got sick. And they said, well, Mr. Rockefeller, why don't you go see these doctors? He goes, these guys are idiots. I'm not going to go see them. These are quacks. This is written in history. He says that medicine is only for profit. It has nothing to do with care for the patients. End the story.
We want to help people, you and I. And we're going to...
Absolutely.
Every month I have an elite group. I'd like to invite you. And I'm going to send you the invitation. And we have elite membership. Hundreds of people join us every month. And I like to educate people, maybe 5-10 minutes of your time. Every single month we educate people. And then I'd like to get you back on this podcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the listeners to send me loads of questions that we're going to fire at you, and then you can answer if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
It's all about education, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's all about education. As a doctor, I try to educate my patients. It is my responsibility, is a God-given duty. It's my Hippocratical oath to be honest with them and first to no harm. That is a Hippocrates said that in that oath. First, you do no harm. The role of a doctor is to do no harm. And that is the only thing the allopathic medicine is doing harm.
Damage.
Against their oath.
Where do you think the future is for humanity in 50 years? Forget the wars and stuff. When it comes to health and what we consume, do you think it's going the right path or not? Because I even hear now organic food isn't really organic anymore because it's right next door to a normal farm.
Yes.
And all the pesticides and all that crap goes over the fence and it contaminates the organic farm. These are the things I hear.
Yes.
Where do you think the future is?
Okay.
For the next 2 generations, let's say.
Well, I think for 2 reasons.
Yes.
One is the AI. The advent of AI is going to destroy the humanity as we know it. We're going to have biological wars that is going to weaken humanity. And humanity is on the way to extinction. It is because look what the COVID, for instance, COVID-19. The test that was a test. That was a test to know first to make you sit at home so you do not exercise. How many people can afford to have gyms in there? Let's get real, right? You and I may be able to do well, in the facility that we are in, right? Are 90% of the people? No, 1%. 90% are not going to be able to exercise. So they're sitting. So it becomes sedentary. The next thing, chips, vegetable oil, refined food, making pancake, making sweets, chocolate. Even chocolate is tainted. Cadbury, Nestle, test their products. You people who do test the products, test their products and see how many of them are tainted with metals, poisoning the people. Chocolate, one of the most favorite things that children drink, tainted with different metals, mercuries, cyanide, lead, arsenic, all of these things that are inside these foods in chocolate. What business do these metals have to be mixed with chocolate?
Why? Because they don't have to, because it makes it cheaper.
First of all, it makes it cheaper. Second, it makes it heavier, weight-wise. And third, because there's no quality control. Chicken in the United States, they did a study on chickens and they found out that everybody who is eating chicken, they have high blood pressure. And they wonder why. So they go and then, check and investigate it. You know what it was? They are injecting them with salt water to make them fat and plump and heavy so they can sell it for profit. Meat, the same thing. Meat is tainted with, most meat cow meat is tainted with bacteria. It is not the fat inside the bacteria, inside the meat that's actually killing the people with heart problems. It is the bacteria that's causing endotoxin that is hiding inside the cholesterol and going into the arteries and killing people. Endotoxins inside the meat. Cow meat. Full of hormones.
Doctor, we're going to come out. We've got so much to go. We're never going to stop, you and I. I've got 8 minutes. I want to wrap up the question that I mentioned. You said AI. Why AI? Why AI?
AI, okay. What happened with COVID? What happened with the vaccine? They used AI to come up with the vaccine. Vaccine takes 10 years to develop.
It's accelerated so quickly.
Accelerated so much, okay?
And came out with the vaccine at the same time.
At the same time, yeah. So somehow something doesn't jive, right? So I was in a conference in World Trade Center. And I asked, AI is going to be the future, this, that, the other. And I asked a question and I said, okay, so if AI is the answer, then why did it fail when it was used to fix the vaccine issue and the COVID issue? And now we are dealing with issues of side effects of the COVID and the vaccines. I said, Well, because human is error. I said, there you go. Who writes the program for AI?
Humans.
Who puts the data inside the AI brain? It's like teaching a child how to behave. So if the teacher is corrupt,
The solution is going to be corrupt.
yeah, that's the idea. AI, then biologically, the AI is going to make decisions for itself. Then it's going to start saying, okay, who gets a loan and who doesn't get a loan? Who gets healthcare, who doesn't get a healthcare? Okay, well, those that are too sick, forget it. No more benefits, no more Medicare. People are good. AI is not sentient. It doesn't feel anything. Despite of the fact that the Google guy said it does not. It doesn't feel anything, doesn't feel anything for humanity. And it's going to be used and weaponized and used as a weapon against humanity, and that's what's going to contribute to human extinction. 1. 2, shortage of food. People in the know, why is Microsoft, Bill Gates buying farmlands? Because he wants to control the food.
He's one of the biggest
supplies.
landowners on the planet, right?
To food, he's one of the most corrupt. He's the cause of people's children having autism in vaccines that are with different.
There was talk about him getting a Nobel Prize, right? For
Well, the Nobel Prize, Nobel company, of course, is just as corrupt. I mean, he's trying to cover his ass for having invented the dynamite, and a lot of people have died in the war because of So he's trying to somehow say, okay, in front of God, I look good now that I'm giving a Nobel Prize to Obama. What kind of a peace did Obama cause? Look at how many Iraqis died, how many Afghan people are dying, and so on. So that's, with these
We'll
guys.
cover that also.
Okay, but what is the issue with the other thing? Pandemics. The next pandemic is going to be is going to make COVID a child play. Spanish flu a child play. The kind of AI will come up with a virus that will basically be indestructible, incurable.
Why would they bring that out? Would it eliminate a percentage of people or the whole humanity?
Microsoft guy wants to says we only need 500 million people on the face of the earth. You don't believe me? Watch the TED Talk that he gave in 2013. There was a formula. The only variable was P. The rest was constant. The only variable was a P. P stands for people. And so for the CO2 carbon footprint to come down, you just have to less people.
How does it? This guy's going to die, right? He's in his 70s or whatever.
And look at him. He looks like shit.
But why? What's going to serve him? Why would he do all this?
Because
he's got kids. He's got grandchildren. Why would he?
Okay.
I'm just...
Yeah.
Aren't people demonizing him because he was the wealthiest man on the planet for so many years?
Okay, let me ask you something.
He's killing his own kids, right? He's going to kill his own grandkids.
No, but he and many others, at least the grandkids and all that, first of all, they went wrong somewhere. They thought drinking the blood of children and it's going to make them stay young. Oh, that's not how it works. You cannot just drink that.
Do you think they still believe that?
Do I? It is the truth. Go to who was Clinton's wife, Hillary Clinton, his campaign manager. Look at his paintings. Children hanging upside down over a pool, and they're standing like this and drinking their blood in South Carolina in the Vanderbilt state, Vanderbilt family, Rockefeller family, and all these guys. Okay, people for talking like this have been killed and
I was thinking that while
assassinated.
You were, I know. Well, yes.
Okay.
Do you know what? I'm going to go into the Epsteins and all that, and the island and what went on.
Clintons and all of that. This is...
Nobody even questions them. Nobody even
because they've got money and they control
Power.
the power. They control the Congress. They control the media. Media. Don't get me started with the media. Media is the most corrupt, most one-sided. Look at all these false flags. Look at what they did. I bet you the Hamas and the Israeli fight is only a false flag, because they are failing in Ukraine, they are failing in Syria, they are failing everywhere else, and they want to show that they are powerful. America is dead. America is finished. America is bankrupt. American society is sick mentally, physically, and emotionally. And American people, I love them. I am an American citizen.
You're American, yeah.
Okay, I'm an American citizen. That is also my country. I love my land and I will fight for my land. But I will not fight for Biden. I will not fight for that Congress. That Congress, democracy in America doesn't exist. They don't even know what democracy is. What is democracy? Medicine. Now, all of this causes what? Stress. Okay.
Oh, but you're not going to get sick. You look
Stress
really
is-
stressed right now.
No, but you know what?
You're pissed. You're pissed.
I
You're
am
upset.
pissed for a long time. However, I do stress management. Like I said, half an hour, 45 minutes,
Walk,
an hour of
meditate.
walk, meditation, walking in the sand, walking in the sea, discharging, closing my phone when I'm around, put it on airplane mode, and all of that kind of thing to fix myself. Red light.
Yes.
Vegetarian diet, vegan diet, nuts, fruits, vegetables, and all of that kind of stuff to keep myself healthy. And I have a DNA test that I test myself almost every year. Okay, my DNA test, everything says low, 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 low.
That's one. Doctor, it's been fascinating. I can't wait for our next session.
Neither
I
can
want to get Alexa right today to start organizing our dates in the diary. Have you enjoyed
Perfect.
it?
I loved it.
It's been an absolute pleasure
Ah,
having you here.
I love
We have-
you, and I
Thank
love you. The kind of a man you are. You had me at hello, and I am at your service for anything and everything.
I love you, Doctor. I honor
love
you,
you too.
and I think we should start hiring some bodyguards from
I am
today.
honored to be here.
Thank you. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
We started late. I have to rush off to my next appointment. Otherwise, I
course.
can do this for another 2 hours.
Of course.
So
I'm here.
love and
anytime.
respect. And
Same
next
here.
time we're going to talk about stem cell, the future of medicine. But you know,
Absolutely.
I actually find it, because I don't want to leave on a negative note. I believe in humanity.
Yes.
And I do think the future's bright somehow. You don't think so? What do you think?
I
I
okay.
hate to think our children will suffer.
If for what? Yes. So do I. After all, I have a 7-month-old.
Exactly.
Okay. I need to. This is why I'm sitting here, and I'm talking. I'm creating awareness. I am telling that you and I and every listener here needs to take, for the sake of their children and their grandchildren, they need to take active role choosing their politician, choosing their representative, choosing their doctors, choosing their healthcare providers, choosing their food, and choosing their lifestyle, and choosing their partner, and making sure that life is beautiful, like just like
It
that
should
movie,
be. It
just
should
the
be.
way it should be. Then yes, the humanity has a chance for a future. Otherwise, not.
Let's start talking about all the, because a lot of people like business, they want to be successful, just don't know how. Let's teach them the how.
Well, yes.
Let's teach them the how to eat, where to eat, what to do. Let's teach them all the possibilities instead of, now we scare them enough to think, look, the change has got to happen. Now they want to know how. So let's teach that.
There is a solution. There's a beautiful solution. There's a life behind this. All of these, adversities and all that, there's a life. There is a beautiful life. We need to go back to the basics. We need to understand what life is, where it comes from, and what it needs, how you need to nourish that, how the body needs to be nourished. That's the way we need to go. And yes, absolutely, there are solutions to save humanity. But now we are at a juncture where we have to choose. If we don't take responsibility for our health, and choose the wrong way, it's a dead end for humanity. We need to go to the right way. And I think that not that I think, I am sure I am an example. I almost died 20 years ago of the stressful life that I had and allopathic medicine that I was practicing. Now I am alive. Why? And I have a 7-month-old child. And my DNA says I am 35. My telomeres say I am 18. Why? Because, if medicine doesn't, telomeres are what causes cellular division, okay? And we can go to that later on, which is something that you had also, that I sent you the report. You can actually make it go the other way. Just eat the right foods, mushrooms, green vegetables, cruciferous fruits, nuts, all those kinds of things. Oh, there is so much. It is important to know there is that silver lining, and there is the light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to take charge of your life.
Thank you, Gladys.
You're welcome.
I honor you. Guys, incredible. Thank you, Dr. Goldsmith.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time, and we're going to continue this
Looking forward
for a very, very long time.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
I honor you. Thank you.
Thank you.